Hey, how's it going, everyone? It's time for the 2022 NBA playoffs. No more play-in tournament. We saw some really exciting games, but all of the games matter now. I posted some pics on my Twitter page at My Guy Knows a Guy. I'm coming on now briefly to share my picks, document them on YouTube. I will be resuming YouTube plays, YouTube picks right here on the NBA Betting Today live stream. Full live stream coming tomorrow morning, and more videos will be put on the channel as well. So just everyone, let's go. It's time. I'm excited. I'm excited. I didn't get much sleep, but I'm excited. There are two early games in the afternoon, the Utah Jazz versus the Dallas Mavericks. Big series. We know the main storyline is revolving around Luka Doncic and his calf strain. When is he going to return in this series? I posted some interesting thoughts on who I think is going to win this series. Check out my page. But I've actually decided to focus on props in this game. I'm going to list the picks out right now. Before we continue, hit like and subscribe to the channel. Minnesota Timberwolves against the Memphis Grizzlies, two of the highest scoring teams in the NBA, pretty much. Offensive metrics through the roof for both teams. I've targeted a list of props. Still no full unit bets just yet. Bear with me. Patient approach. Waiting for game two. The system will be rolling. Let's go. The first pick I shared on Twitter is Memphis Grizzlies -6.5 for a half unit. I think that this team has favorable matchups all across the board. They have they definitely have the defensive pedigree. They have the effort. I believe in this squad. I believe in the squad. I don't think this is going to be as long as a series as some people think. But I've taken the Memphis Grizzlies to turn it up another notch. Betting against the T-Wolves, maybe a bit of an emotional letdown after the atmosphere against the Clippers in the play-in tournament. So I've taken the Memphis Grizzlies to continue to do what they've done. I like what their coaching staff and their front office has done in terms of their approach for resting their players before the playoffs. I think they're going to come out fresh. This is probably going to be a high-scoring game, but I'm taking the quality of the Memphis Grizzlies roster to really get the playoffs started with a bang. But for a half a unit, let's see how this series goes. The next pick, Jordan Clarkson over 14.5 points. This is a half unit bet as well. The Dallas Mavericks are a team with an excellent defense, but the trio of Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, and Jordan Clarkson average about 56, I believe 55, 56 points per game. This is a very potent offensive attack, although the defensive metrics of the Utah Jazz have slid considerably. I think Jordan Clarkson will be able to attack and absorb some of the pressure that is going to be on Donovan Mitchell today, although I still think Donovan Mitchell has a chance to break through individually. I'm not picking a side in this game one, but I did take Jordan Clarkson over 14.5 points for half a unit. The next pick, Donovan Mitchell over 26.5 points for half a unit. This is another matchup that I like for Donovan Mitchell in terms of his ability to stretch the floor. That has been the only weakness of the Dallas Mavericks defense so far this season, are players with the skill set of Donovan Mitchell who are able to consistently and reliably shoot from distance at a high volume. Donovan Mitchell, I believe he's going to have a pretty good above average individual performance compared to his individual standards. I think Donovan Mitchell will look like an all-star today. The Jazz, though, it's tough for me to take them to cover today. I know that they're getting a lot of support, rightfully so, I believe, because of Luka being out. You could assume, but I still respect what the Dallas Mavericks coaching staff has done up until this point in the season. But individually, I do think Donovan Mitchell can cash today for us over 26.5 points. I think he can cash win or lose. Jaren Jackson Jr. over 15.5 points for half a unit. One thing that we saw against the LA Clippers is that I believe that if they had a player like Jaren Jackson Jr. instead of Zubac, who is essentially unplayable at the end of games because of his flat-footed defense, that maybe the Clippers would be in the play-in tournament right now. Maybe they would have had enough to edge the Minnesota Timberwolves in that game, because the interior defense and the interior decision-making on the defensive side of the ball for the Timberwolves is lacking. Jaren Jackson Jr., I believe this line is a bit too low. It's set low because of the full health of the Memphis Grizzlies. Will all of them go over? Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, John Morant, Dylan Brooks. I think Jaren Jackson has the skill set to attack the paint, to get to the free throw line. He's gone over this current total against the T-Wolves at a high clip, and I think it will continue. He also has a decent run of getting to the free throw line against the T-Wolves in recent history. So those are the half-unit bets. I have two quarter-unit bets. John Morant over 28.5 points. John Morant over 28.5 points. it's time for the big stage. Ja Morant's been well rested. He probably could have returned before the point that he did, based on what I'm reading. That's an indicator of full health. All systems go for Ja Morant. He will be attacking today, and I believe this number will prove to be too low, even possibly. Ja Morant really could explode today with his skill set. His injury kind of prevented him from really making noise in the MVP race. I think he's going to let everyone know and remind everyone why he was in the MVP race before he was omitted, essentially because of injuries. Ja Morant, big game today for me. Quarter unit bet, though, tracking some of the franchise guys. Karl Anthony Towns over 24.5 points for a quarter unit. This is a situational play, which is why I scaled the bet size down. Karl Anthony Towns, I believe, is going to come out with another level of intensity. He's going to forcefully try to score today after the embarrassing performance. I've been watching this guy for a long time, as many in the basketball community has, but Karl Anthony Towns is one of the few players that, really does play with a sense of pride, with a sense of professionalism. He doesn't really accept many slights towards him. I know this is anecdotal stuff, but 24.5 against a team with a great defense in the Memphis Grizzlies after having a pretty bad performance. I think Karl Anthony Towns does have the ability to stretch the floor. Jaren Jackson Jr. has amazing ability to track him basically all over the floor, but he's going to be, can he do it for 4 quarters? I don't think so. I think Karl Anthony Towns will remind us why he was an all-star today. Quarter unit bet. So yeah, that's 6 bets for the early games. Gonna scale down the volume after this, though. Just throwing out some not throwing them out, but I'm sharing these bets that I did analyze. I'm betting all of them. Best of luck to everyone. And I just said throwing out because there happens to be many of them, and they're not the biggest bets, but I'm still highly confident in all of them. Best of luck, everyone. We have not much bigger. Sorry, I said that because I have the Raptors hat on. We have 2 really big games in the evening. The Nuggets versus the Warriors and the 76ers versus the Raptors. More coverage right here on the Frenzy Sports YouTube channel, the Sports Predictions channel. If you're watching this on Twitter, check out my other tweet and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Frenzy Sports, the Sports Predictions channel. We have the Memphis Grizzlies -6.5, Jordan Clarkson over 14.5 points, Donovan Mitchell over 26.5 points, Jaren Jackson Jr. over 15.5 points. Those are half-unit bets. Smaller bets, Ja Morant over 28.5 points. Karl Anthony Towns over 24.5 points. Hopefully we can get to some good money and keep the good run going. It's been great times as of late. Let's keep it going. Hit like on the video. Short notice because the games are actually starting just a few hours, 2 or 3 hours. But yeah, catch you guys later on the next full live stream for tomorrow.